Dana, welcome to London. The first thing I have to ask is, how are you coping with the accents over here? I know that's something you sometimes struggle with.
Yeah. Good. It's been okay. I had a situation yesterday where I was in a room full of accents and I was having trouble hearing. The problem is that I have a hard time hearing as it is. I have a hearing problem, and sprinkle a couple of accents on there and I'm screwed.
Do you remember that time that Scottish guy asked you about Pride rules? Way back in the day.
I do.
Anyway, well, it's great to be back in London. I think, look, we've got to travel to Abu Dhabi and stuff, but this one for me feels like the first one where we're back. Like, the world's back to normal. We're abroad, no masks, nothing like that. I don't know if you feel the same, but it's maybe finally there's a chapter turned. We're on to the next one. So how good does it feel for you to be back on the road like this?
No, it feels good, and even more importantly, it feels normal here. Things feel back to normal. Nobody's torturing you, telling you to throw a mask on and all this stuff. People are just out here doing their thing, so feels good.
When you talk about England as a fight location, it's an interesting one, right? Because I'm sure, like me, you're a little bit surprised that maybe the sport hasn't blown up here as quickly as we might think. But now you start looking at the talent we have on Saturday night and you think, wow, it's not like one or two guys. There's like an increasing number of very good MMA fighters in this country now.
Yeah, this roster is probably the best we've ever had in the history of the company. So not only is it exciting to be back in here with the fans, which I know is going to be crazy, but with this roster.
When you think about Saturday night and how loud the fans are going to be, do you still get that same buzz that some of us do when the music, like Paddy Pimblett's music, hits? You know the place is going to go fucking insane.
Yeah, I'm a fan just like you and everybody watching, so yeah, I get as excited as everybody does.
Tom Aspinall, how bright do you think this guy's future is? He's one of the youngest guys in the division, and man, he's so quick for a heavyweight. When you look at him, how high do you think his ceiling is? I know this is a big fight for him, but where do you see him?
Huge fight. He breaks into the top 5 if he wins this fight, and then he's in the discussion with all the top guys in the world.
Dan Hooker dropping down to featherweight for the first time in a long time. Talking to Dan myself, it's interesting how, man, that PI makes a big difference for these guys. A lot of people think, oh, how can they ever get low that weight? And he's telling me that this is as easy a cut as it is to lightweight because they have the help from the PI. With Dan, is this kind of a weird crossroads fight? Like, he lost a couple of times at lightweight. He's fighting a really good guy in Arnold Allen. Is this one of those fights where if he wins, he's right back to the top, but if he loses, we don't know what we're going to do from there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously an important fight for him in his career. To move down and lose would be rough.
Yeah. Paddy Pimblett, I mean, he's had one fight, right? So it's sometimes we maybe put a little bit too much, like, oh, this guy. But when you see him and you see the numbers he generates, he's got that deal with Barstool. Do you see someone like, wow, this guy, his uniqueness means there's a potential star here? You can already see something, right?
Well, he's already a star. And everybody keeps talking to me about what a big star he is. It's all about winning now. I mean, you got to come in here and you got to win. So, yeah, I mean, all the things that are going to be fun about Paddy, from the walk-in to the energy to this, that, it's all about the win.
Doesn't matter if he loses, right?
Right.
I spoke to Mr. Conor McGregor the other day in Dublin, and he said something very interesting to me. He would like to fight Kamaru Usman next, not necessarily Charles Oliveira. How big could that fight be? Kamaru Usman, pound for pound in the sport. Conor McGregor, obviously the biggest star in the sport. When you think of that, your initial reaction, how big could that fight be?
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't heard that. He's coming into Vegas. We're getting together soon, and we're going to talk, and we'll see what's next.
Sounds good, though, money-wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, any Conor fight is good money-wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. If you could pick one fight Saturday night, which fight are you most excited for?
Oh, God, that's a tough one. It's always hard not to be most excited about the main event, but then we were just talking about the co-main event, too. And this whole card is stacked with fighters who are undefeated or undefeated in the UFC or on 7 to 10 fight win streaks. I mean, there's a lot of good fights on this card.
Dana White, thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to London. Oh, by the way, last thing, have you tried any British cuisine while you're here? Everyone likes to shit on it, but I think it's got some positives in there.
I haven't yet. I had Italian last night, and tonight I'm doing Indian.
I was going to say, 5 of the best restaurants in the world are in London. They just all happen to serve French food.
Right. No, listen, the restaurant game in this country has changed over the last 20 years, man. 20 years ago, I came here and was eating like toast and cereal every day because the food sucks so bad. Now, I mean, the restaurants here are unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
The food can be quite shit here, I'll admit it. Thank you, Dana.